Can I zoom out on this?
Recording now.
Did it say
They even got
recording?
messed up hair for this show. It's great.
Well, you know,
I haven't
it's
bathed in like 5 days.
It's a holiday.
That's right.
TMI.
Can I zoom out the spreadsheet?
You can do whatever you want in the spreadsheet there. Wow, look
there
how
it is.
many.
There we go.
Look at the bottom. Each one of those tabs is an old show that we did way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Way back. All right, let's sit up. Get
Way
comfortable.
Lynn.
Me. Close the door.
Close your curtains, Gavin. What are you doing? It's bright.
Oh my gosh, it's so bright. TJ is always sunset. It's always sunsetting.
It's kind of like half sunny, half overcast. All right, got that going. Got all notifications turned off. Oh, I gotta turn off this one. Function.
$3 movie day.
That was sold yesterday.
Actually, that was 2 days ago.
Or 2 days ago. Wait,
It was actually
let's move around.
Saturday was a great day. I think it was Saturday. Maybe I did it yesterday. Saturday was a great day to do grocery shopping. There was nobody at the stores. Football games going on, cookouts for Labor Day.
Those are always great. Football game days, yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Is it college football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big OSU game.
Don't live in a college football town anymore, but when I did, that was when you went to the store because there'd be like no one there.
Yeah.
Just the whole store is yours. It's so much fun.
It's crazy how like a football can take over the whole town. Like when we were in New Orleans, there was a Saints game on, and like it just took over. It took over the whole town, and I was just like, "Hey, look, what's going on?
Who cares about this?"
They're like, football is life. Is what they say.
Football is life. Football
I just want something to eat. I just want some food. Some gumbo.
Give me some beignets.
Some gumbo. I love their gumbo.
It's going to ghost tour.
Red beans and rice, cornbread. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Grew up on all that stuff.
Getting hungry now.
Mm-hmm.
Wash it all down with some absinthe.
As you do in New Orleans.
When you're in New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
No, you got to say New Orleans, yeah.
That was a great trip.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Minus the urine smell everywhere.
It wasn't that bad. It was only certain corners.
It's not like that.
Just most of downtown.
Yeah, just most of the corners. Just most of downtown.
Yeah.
A couple streets.
It reminded me of being in New York.
I just, that trip taught me that the taxi drivers is a universal thing where they're like, they pull up to you when you try and get them and you're like, all right, where are you going? And I say, I'm going down here. And if it's not long enough, they drive off. And I thought that was in Toronto only because we were we went to the basketball game and coming back from there, it was raining. So we tried to get a taxi and it wasn't far, but it's far enough that we needed a taxi. And we couldn't get one. We had to walk in the rain. I thought that was just a Toronto thing, but no.
It's a universal taxi thing.
So what I usually do in Toronto is when they ask me, I give them a far destination, and then when you get in the cab, then I'm like, "Oh no, plans changed. We're just going here."
That's how you get shot.
Yeah,
no, they're not allowed to kick you out by law. They're not allowed to kick you out.
I just carry cash on me for that reason. Just give you cash and drive me down here real quick.
They get pissed off, but it's like, you know what? You're not allowed to kick me out. I'll just call the police. I got at this point.
Stab.
Cab number.
Oh, hey, I meant to ask. Well, it doesn't matter. We've already started recording. But on you guys recording, if you don't mind checking, especially TJ, like sometimes you get real quiet. I've had to boost you guys up a little bit over the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, I just
on this thing. It sounds like we're loud because I think it's adjusting our audio for whatever. But by the time it hits locally, it's
yeah. I just didn't want to jack it up too much because then you hear breathing and stuff too.
I'll start yelling if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, you do. When you do.
Hello.
Yell, I can normalize audio, but when it's whisper quiet, it's really hard to get it pulled out.
Sorry. I'll fix it.
It's funny.
From Pickering, Ontario.
And there's like an off. I forget what they call it. An off-access like the voltage, the center of the audio wave is off, like on both yours. Like Gavin's a little bit more like I had to adjust it down like
The
10
center of my
decibels.
audio.
Yeah, I'll send you a screenshot next time. It was really weird. I was like, I've never seen this before. But I'll send you a screenshot of it, or of an example of it. It's like the bottom of the waveform is smaller than the top. So when you go to normalize everything, like it normalizes for the top peak, but the bottom is still quiet. It's really weird. I'll send you a screenshot.
I'm supposed to start talking like Lewis Black.
I know. I got into like some crazy. Yeah.
Mine looks like it's
I'm a
right in the
comedian.
middle.
I'm a comedian. I'm at the thing.
That's weird.
All right, you guys ready? Ready to record a home tech podcast?
Oh, I was born ready.
Awesome. All right. I'm recording already. So whenever you
I've
guys...
been recording for a while though.
Awesome. Is TJ recording?
Oh, I was the first one.
He did it already.
6 minutes recording already.
I'll do it. I'll do the intro and then we'll get started on our podcast where we talk about home technology.
I think I've heard of it.
Maybe.
It's that Matter thing, right?
It matters. That's going to be the It Matters podcast. Clickbait.
Rebranding. That's good.
Yeah. This is the Home Tech Podcast for Friday, September 9th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Palo, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the Home Tech Podcast, a podcast all about home technology, home automation, $3 movie weekend. TJ, did you go to the $3 movie?
I did not. I'm not much of a movie goer, but I decided to check out online tickets, and there was a queue to even look at the website, so I knew I was not going on Saturday.
That's pretty bad. Wow. Gavin, what about you?
Yeah, I did not go on the day of. We looked at the seating, and there were just way too many people that we felt. So we went the day after.
I heard that's the perfect day to go.
Yeah, I paid a little bit more, but you know what? It was nicely spaced out. I enjoyed it a lot more. And we went and saw Bullet Train.
Nice. Well, I went on $3 movie day, and I went to see the Super Pets, the DC, it's like Superman has a dog, and it's a new little story, and it's in the DC universe with all the Aquaman and everybody. And I got to say, it is the best DC movie to date. Like, I've seen them all. And they are really like Superman. I've seen all the Supermans. I've seen Aquaman. Evidently, there's Aquaman 2. I don't even know how they're going to do that because Aquaman 1 was so horrible. But this movie was absolutely a delight to watch. And I laughed the whole way through. There's a turtle in there that has to be my favorite character because even in a kid's movie, she's cursing up a storm. And they bleep it, but it's still funny for every adult in the movie theater. So
I think the sad part of that movie was Ace's origin story, how the family left him and he was just trying.
I did not expect that.
Anybody, but that was a very sad moment in that movie,
Yeah. The every one of them had like a little origin story. All the pets, so to speak, had a little origin story that they came up with, and it was a good show. I really liked it. I would recommend if you didn't like any of the DC movies, this is the one to go see because it's great. Like I think I liked Wonder Woman like a little bit. Like that one's really good when the first one came out. But I mean, just the other ones are just so bad. Just haven't been very good.
I'm not a big superhero movie person, but I do like animals, so maybe I'll check it out.
You'll like this. It's definitely one to go see. Can recommend. Go ahead.
The one thing I just can't get over with the DC movies, I don't know what it is, but their CGI just throws me off. Like in the Superman movies, when he's flying through, it just doesn't look right. And that's what I just can't get. Where Marvel seems to have that right. That's what throws me off.
Dogs don't fly either, but I'm kidding. Different movie, but yeah. No, it was good. And as for seats go, like I thought I was being smart by like I got 3 seats in like the one spacer. And I was like, I'll sit, next to that spacer and not have to see. Well, there was a father who bought the 2 seats in front of us, and then he sat back one row and watched his kids and like brought them pop. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, but I get to sit next to this guy now, so it didn't quite work out the way I thought it was going to. Luckily, they have big seats. It's not like it was a big dinner theater thing, so it wasn't that bad. So anyway, what do you guys? Gavin, you have a PSA here about Z-Wave firmware updates. What's all that about?
Yeah. So this week I spent some time going through my various Z-Wave devices, looking at their various firmware, seeing what updates are out there. Mainly because sometimes I monitor my Z-Wave network just to see what's chatty. And there were a few Zeus devices I had that were overly chatty. They were just temperature sensors, so they should not have been sending so much. So, I look for a new firmware. I got it, updated it. They stopped being so chatty, and that just frees up the network a lot more. And I feel the difference. I had to update about 6 of them. So, it's just a PSA, like if your network's giving issues, that's one thing to look at. The latest firmwares, make sure everything's up to date, updating firmware, they really need to work on this. It's not an easy thing. And it drains the battery on battery devices when you update the firmware because it's streaming like constant. And that has to stay awake through that whole process. That battery, it takes a significant hit. I must have drained 25% to 50% on some of the batteries just doing this. But just a PSA, check your firmwares out there.
You're always with the chatty Zigbee stuff, man. Like it's all
Z-Wave.
like it, yeah, or Z-Wave. Sorry, it's the same thing. It doesn't. It's not
Ghost
matter.
in
It
the
doesn't
nodes,
matter.
chatty Z-Wave.
Yeah, because you know what, like, and it's gonna happen with any ecosystem though. It's a problem with the I guess Z-Wave or Zigbee and the
Yeah.
devices, right? Like when a manufacturer gives you a device and they keep power reporting on, as soon as you turn that switch on, it's sending constant power reports and just overloading the network. And then other things slow down and you wonder what's going on. So I'm always keeping an eye on, what's talking on my network, how often it talks, and I cut it down as much as I can.
Do you have like a utility, or is this something that's built into? You're using what, Habitat?
Habitat, yeah. One of the easiest ways of doing it is just turn on the logging to your Z-Wave devices and just watch them. And if you see a specific device like constantly sending reports, then that's something to look at, right? Like in my case, my temperature sensors were constantly sending battery and random temperature reports when they shouldn't have been, right? So that's when I started looking at it, and there was a newer firmware, and after I upgraded it, it stopped doing it. So I just gotta free it up because it's not a lot of bandwidth they have. So when things are very chatty, it can cause other issues.
Chatty Z-Wave devices, man.
Yeah.
You've talked about it from day one, like it's chatty stuff, and like there's got to be like a way. There's got to be like I've been dealing with my Unraid server, but there's like this fix common problems plugin that everybody recommends that you install, and it tells you if something's wrong. Like it does a pretty good job. It scans the system, but like what you need to make for those Habitat people is like fix common Gavin problems, and then like what you'll do is just watch for those chatty Z-Wave nodes and ghost nodes.
They do have some KB articles on the Habitat website that actually all like ways to, I guess, fix your Z-Wave if you're having problems, things to look at, things to troubleshoot, how to set it up properly. So it's really good to like read and learn, because if you're going to play with these technologies, understanding how they work really helps when things don't work. And trust me, things stop working at some point.
Yep, I can. Yeah, and because I'm sitting here just shaking my head because I've been dealing with my dead Unraid server for 2 weeks now. And it wasn't just like one thing happened, yes, but then multiple things happened on top of that, and then like getting trying to figure out what all of those things were, and then like stepping back, watching the logs, trying to make sense of what this gobbledygook comes off, and then I post them there and to their forums, and the guys are like, yeah, that's some weird crashing you got there, buddy.
Yeah.
Good luck to you. Like, that was a lot of help.
And sometimes I tell you things like, check this, and you come back like a couple hours later and like, I checked that, but I also clicked on these 10 other buttons at the same time. I'm like, I didn't tell you to click those buttons, like, do you know what they do? No, but they said click me.
They said click me, yeah.
First rule of troubleshooting: if you don't click a bunch of buttons and it doesn't work, then you probably can't fix it.
Yeah.
All
the other buttons to unclick. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, Gavin, the couple hours that was spent between the two messages were me just rebooting the system every 5 minutes. So there's plenty of time for me to test all of those settings one at a time. But no, I think I finally squared it away. My daughter's in there right now watching DuckTales, so, and it has not crashed yet. So that's good. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
We still have the show to record, so
yeah.
We'll
this is separate from all of that mess. So, oh man, what a trial though. Jeez Louise, it's been crazy trying to get through this thing and figure out what is wrong with it. Luckily, all my data and stuff I keep not on the Unraid server as I should, but like elsewhere on a Synology NAS, and like I just references in and all the applications run over here. So it's really just been the apps, keeping them running, Plex running, and that kind of thing. That's been kind of the problem, but I think it's all done. I think well, knock on wood.
Just jinx yourself right there.
Just like Gavin's rack, I think it's all done.
So never.
All right, what do you say we jump into some of these HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
All right, Samsung SmartThings has announced a big partnership with Philips Hue that'll be integrating the Hue Sync. So users with a Samsung Galaxy phone are now able to sync their Philips Hue lights with most music streaming services right from their smartphone or tablet. Here's a quote from Mark Benson, the head of SmartThings US. It's clear that consumers want smarter and more personalized technology, and this integration delivers on the desire by allowing SmartThings users to express their mood from the comfort of their own home. This is kind of a cool integration. Like if you are streaming music from your Samsung Samsung Galaxy, of course, it'll integrate with Samsung SmartThings, which will integrate with the Philips Hue devices and basically sync the music that's coming through the phone with a Philips Hue Sync. So that's kind of neat. Gavin, what do you think about this?
It's cool. I don't know how many people. I wonder how many people actually use this, but it's cool. I don't do anything.
It's expensive. It's very that one's an expensive one. Yeah,
that's like the other thing about this is I always found that was so expensive just to have my lights sync to my music or to my video. But it's cool. I like it more for TV when they sync the lights to the TV when you're watching on a big screen, because it kind of like makes the screen feel bigger. Yeah. Like even though it's not bigger, but I like that idea. To music, I would only really see this if you're having a lot of house parties or something like this, Now I don't have to bring in all the smoke machines and stuff like that. I can have, this stuff going.
Yeah, that Philips Hue Sync box, $250. So definitely not a cheap accessory, but a lot of people really like this. I'm always seeing pictures online of people posting their TVs with the backlighting behind it and all that kind of good stuff. So I think a lot of people really do like this. And, we keep seeing different options for this kind of thing. So it's a pretty popular thing, I see.
Yeah. I like the box. I think is HDMI, like HDMI in and out, but it also integrates with the other stuff in the product line. And you can get some linear tape and integrate that with it as well as like these little desk lamps that can expand. Like the linear tape goes behind the TV, and like Gavin was saying, makes the TV look bigger. But like you can expand that field out beyond the TV by putting in the lamps and the linear lighting. That's kind of wild. Like when you look at some of the things they have on their website and what you can do with it, it's pretty crazy. So I do like it, but it is expensive. When you start getting into all that pixel control and Hue Sync, any way you go, it actually starts to get pretty expensive. There's a lot of DIY stuff out there that can do this, but it's not all one package, like a package solution, like what Philips offers. So and of course, Samsung being Samsung, they're like, well, we got a phone that integrates with all these music services. We got a smart home system that integrates with Philips Hue. Let's just pipe some music over there and some control codes over to the Philips Hue system and let it dance, and you can have your dancing parties with your phone. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and this is really where, Samsung kind of shines with their SmartThings software, is they're able to do this stuff with what they already have out, I don't know how long it actually, takes to make a feature like this, but it probably didn't take them as long to do this compared to some other things they've done. So,
right.
Some good press in the long run for them.
So they're going to steal from Apple. Only Samsung. Say only Samsung can do this, right? Because your HomeKit doesn't even know that. There's no way HomeKit's going to integrate with Philips Hue Sync and bring in Apple Music and everything. No, it's not going to happen. So did think it was nice that you could do like most streaming music services, and Apple would be like only Apple Music, and Samsung and Philips Hue can do this and HomeKit, right? So anyway, moving on here. Nice Nortec Control have announced Panamax C3 IP, which is a compact power conditioner and power sequencer. It's a 12 amp Blue Bolt enabled power management product that has 3 separate outlets available for control. It's got remote power management capabilities using the Blue Bolt platform, allowing integrators to monitor, control, and program the unit from just about anywhere. It's 50% smaller than the model it's going to replace. And they say here that you can put it behind flat panel TVs and structured wiring enclosures and that kind of thing to allow for that service integration. Kind of a cool little product here. Looks like it also, they say, of course, it's Nortec, and with Nortec, it comes the integration with Elan control systems. So it can be built into that as well pretty easily. TJ, these types of power boxes or power on off, like this seems to be like a killer feature for some reason in the integration world. And I kind of I kind of left my sales and technician journey when this stuff was like coming to market. Like Blue Bolt was around, but it had been around forever. But Wattbox was getting popular with Oversea and that kind of thing. Are you seeing a lot of people use this, or do you use this a lot? Like this kind of like power on, power off box thing?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So a lot of times you want something like this in an environment where you're not going to have direct access to it. So, a customer's house or a customer's business is a perfect example. If they're having problems with their camera system, they're having problems with like the router or maybe access points, kind of anything, it's nice to be able to just remotely reboot it and probably solve the issue. As we kind of know that, when you have an issue, rebooting fixes the majority of problems, it seems like. Obviously it's not going to fix some deeper hardware issue, but there's people out there that have constant problems with their modem not working every other day, or an amplifier locking up if it gets too loud, or whatever happens in the real world, where you could just click a button and reboot everything. And a lot of these have smarts built into it to where if it doesn't like ping the internet, a website like Google, it'll just automatically reboot outlets as well. So there's a lot of use cases for these, and especially in the professional environment where, like I said, you're not going to have access to those devices all the time, and you don't need to roll a truck out to solve an issue that rebooting will solve.
Right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, as it's always been the case, the have you tried turning it off and back on again solution seems to be the only way troubleshooting starts and begins, but never solves the root problem, I guess. I don't know.
Pretty much always the first question that comes out of my mouth is, have you rebooted it yet? And majority of people say no, you reboot it. And I would say majority of the time it works. So
Gavin, what do you think about this type of product? I mean, I know it's more of a pro-centered product, but PDUs exist. They exist outside of this market, definitely in the IT world. They're around. What do you think about this thing?
Well, for us poor people, we also have, our versions of this, right? Like there are devices out there that will ping services, and if they don't get a response, they'll start rebooting things like your modem or stuff like that. Like we can do that at a low expense. This sounds like just smart switches to me, right? Like maybe a little bit more robust, but I mean, we do this with smart switches where you can send a on-off command on a smart switch, to reboot someone's TV or something if you needed to. So it's cool in the pro market, but if you're poor, we have our options as well too.
You find those options like something you use? Or I know you were talking about, there was it Wise or somebody that you were using the little outlet switch thing the other day with the USB ports on it for your tools? I think it's kind of
no, that was Zeus that I have that with.
Zeus Power Strip.
Yeah, it's a power strip, and I use that for my tools because it's basically not just tools, but I use that as a charging station. And basically, I just turn on the switch, it charges the battery, and once the battery's done charging, it will turn it off later on, so it's not sitting there. But I also have a reboot plug on my router, so whenever my router goes offline, it does the exact same thing. It knows that it can't get to something on the internet, and it automatically reboots my router for me, and that has come in very helpful, keeping it online, right? Because usually, yes, reboot solves it, right?
I had a 6.5 hour outage the other day from thanks to Comcast, or I don't know what happened, but it was really funny. They sent me a text message that says probably around 10 o'clock in the morning, said your services are scheduled to come back online at 11:59 p.m. It's like, wait a second, you guys you're not even trying. Like that's just a guess. But what was funny is I still have on there one of those like reboot things that's pinging for Google or whatever. I'd forgotten it was there, but when I went back and looked at the firewall logs, it was basically like the link was up, link was down, link was up. So the entire time it had been power cycling the modem every 5 or 6 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, and rebooting it. So when the system actually did come back online, The modem had just been rebooted and linked up with Comcast, and boom, I was back online sometime like 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't they didn't go down all day. It was kind of crazy.
And it's a great thing to have. I think ConnectSense sells one that does that, right?
Yeah,
If you're looking for one, they're a good one to look at if you need. And yes, it's always great to reboot, like especially after a service outage. You get that reboot in, you'll have a new IP probably, everything will be refreshed. It's always good to have that done.
Yeah, and I think the biggest advantage the professional ones have most of the time is the ability to hardwire it. There's a ton of, Wi-Fi controlled smart switches out there, and there's no shortage of pricing and all that good stuff for them. But I haven't seen any DIY options that actually have a hardwire Ethernet spot. And that probably isn't important to the majority of people. But in the professional environment, it is nice to not have to worry about somebody's wireless working or something like that. So.
And I'm just going to tell you something I've been looking at. This may be like a precursor to a show maybe next year, year after, right? But I was looking at replacing my electrical panel. And I didn't realize the smart electrical panels are available to us now. So you can get access to controlling things like circuits, seeing what's using the power on the circuits, rebooting the circuits, stuff like that if you really need to. That's some cool features. So if I ever replace my electrical panel, I'm probably going to throw some smarts in that at some point too.
Cool. Yeah. Keep us appraised of that one. One thing I will note is that most of the time they're not like rebooting the circuits. You can turn them off, but you can't turn them back on except manually. So keep that in mind when you're.
I'll keep that in mind because that will really suck if I did that from turn off the HVAC unit from away. Like
it's a one way. Really
suck. Yeah. But it's expensive, but I know ways of cutting down on costs through friends and stuff like that. So that's again, probably next year, year after.
Yeah, the energy monitoring portion of that's really cool. And if that's what you're looking for, I think it's a great example of that. And turning off stuff remotely, water heater or something like that if you forgot to turn it off or something. But yeah, keep in mind that most of them turn off but not back on. So
okay, good to know.
Safety first. Yeah. Speaking of turning off and not back on, thousands of Colorado residents found themselves locked out of their smart thermostats during some sweltering temperatures last week in an effort to prevent power demand from overwhelming the grid. About 22,000 XL customers lost control of their smart thermostats for hours back on August 30th in Denver. The news there was reporting that led to a backlash on social media from people not realizing that they had signed agreements for their free thermostats and credit. Let's see, they get $100 credit on their electricity bills upon signing up and $25 a year for participation in this program that allows Excel to adjust the customer's smart thermostats in demand and peak times so that the grid does not completely break down and they end up with a problem like Texas had a couple of years ago where they just kind of like completely lost power in both the dead of winter, and I think they've had a couple of like rolling blackouts recently through some of parts of their grids are still having issues. So this is crazy. It's hot and people like their air conditioning, but man, we haven't seen this here. I'm hooked up for it. Like I know that my power company has like a little thing where they can turn off the power for the water heater and the air conditioner, but they have never in the time that I've been here done that. Like I don't even think there's been threats of it. But what about you guys? Have you ever run into anything like this?
When I got my Ecobee, they gave us a discount on it, but they also said it's because the utility company will have some access to it and control over it, right? And all that really was an app that was connected to the online service. So the first thing I did was go into the online part of it and just delete their app. So they lost all access to mine, right? But they never said they would turn off anything like in this case. They actually, what they were saying they would do is they would adjust the temperatures and stuff in your house based on usage patterns and stuff like that. If it's too high, they'll turn everybody's heat up a little bit just to or reduce the AC, for example. I still didn't like that, and I disconnected mine, but I still got the discount. I feel bad if they just came in and turned everything off, because if I need some AC, even just a little AC, our houses can heat up pretty quick.
Yep. What about you, TJ?
Yeah, this sounds like an awful proposition. I don't think I would ever want to do it. I mean, ever since I've heard about these programs coming out, I've never really looked into them, but I just automatically assumed that they would do something like this, probably at the worst time possible. Um,
Clearly, they have.
and yeah, and just like smart thermostats aren't really that expensive of a product anyway, especially now. So I guess I just don't see the advantage of doing this unless you're, I guess, worried about the overall environmental impacts of it, and then you're allowing them to do that, and that's fine. But if you're just doing it to save money, like it's not really saving you much money in the long run, and I would just avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, like a smart thermostat will do a better job of figuring out like what your usage patterns are that Gavin was talking about, and it would do a better job of like so some like Nest and Ecobee have features in them where they'll keep the air conditioner running a little bit longer to eke out that last bit of cold air or whatever through the vents before it cools, completely, the cold lines completely go away. So they can save you a little bit of money on usage over a year. I don't know, about $25. That's probably more than you'll save by putting a smart thermostat in. I don't know, but I would still encourage everyone to get a smart thermostat. It's probably one of the easiest things you can do to get into a smart home.
Oh no, I wasn't saying that smart thermostats are a terrible investment. I'm saying if
These
you're
programs.
signing if you're signing an agreement to get a smart thermostat for $100 off when they're only $200 originally, I don't think it's that good of a proposition.
Right.
The technology itself is good though. I think everybody should have one.
Yeah. Well, and the other side of this is like the grid can completely collapse, and then they've got a huge service problem on their hands if everyone doesn't participate in, or this is 22,000 people. That's no chump change, but and nobody lost power, so to speak, but they did get them shut off. And I like Ecobee's solution there, where they may be able to raise the temperature a little bit. I don't know if whatever this Excel company is using. I didn't really quite get that far, but like, why was it completely lock out rather than just raise it to 83 degrees rather than the 68 it's set on or something?
Well, and I think that depends on probably what's going on at the moment. Like if they're having a higher power usage demand, then they're probably going to lock you to a certain temperature. Whereas like if it's leading up to that, they might give you that range. I think at this time it was just the extreme value of it, and that's why people were upset about it, because they were not able to adjust it.
Yeah. Well, there definitely needs to be a better way of alerting people that kind of thing's coming up, where they've been trying this stuff out for years, and it seems like, to me, like an emergency situation like this, where we've got to cut 22,000 people out of the system, or we're going to fail. Like, it seems like they should have a better management around like getting that message out. Like, this is the worst case situation. We are shutting off your air conditioner, and people are going to get mad though. They probably forgot that they had signed up for the program, and then
and how many people probably did not read the terms of service? They just saw a discounted thermostat and they were like, "All right, let's do it."
Yeah, and forgot like 2 or 3 years ago. Like, people sleep, and you forget things when you sleep. So,
but you can get a smart thermostat for like $60 now. So
just
do that, then you own it.
Yep. All right. Well, moving on here. Imagine having control over all your smart appliances. I know the electrical companies will love this, including like your HVAC systems, your ovens, your smart TVs, your microwaves, all that good stuff. Well, thanks to the Home Connectivity Alliance, or the HCA, who's been working for the past 9 months to bring a new cloud-to-cloud integration to market. That may be the future for everyone here. They have built in the C2C, what they're calling C2C connectivity, cloud to cloud, was demoed at IFA, which is going on right now, 2022, which is the world's largest trade fair for consumer electronics and household applications. So this is basically an integration between the cloud servers of these platforms, so that you would be able to control, say, an HVAC system from some other interface or app or something like that, and do integrations off that. Gavin, I know we were talking about this a little bit before the show. It's encouraging that these companies are all coming together to do integrations, but cloud to cloud, man, seems like a big swing and a miss.
It is like, and I'll wait till it comes out a bit more and we get more details. But like having your washer talk to your dryer, to me, is no big deal. What you'd want is if your washer is done and it talks to your Sonos to tell it, announce this, for example.
Yes,
Stuff like that. It all comes down to the integration in this thing. At this point, what they've announced, I'd be happy if all your devices just talk to each other to tell each other, hey, your time is wrong, update your time. If they all got their time in sync whenever you had a power outage, oh yeah, I'd just be happy with that alone. But it comes down to integration with other things. And if they might have to release just another hub, or I guess they would call it a bridge to bring it into Matter, I'd be fine with that as long as we can integrate it with the rest of your home.
That's all I'm asking for. Is just, it's 2022. Like, the clock on the microwave should never be out of sync with what it is in the real world. Like,
time is hard.
Sharper Image figured it out like 10 years ago, man. They've had the atomic clocks from Sharper Image in the airplane guides for forever. I don't know. Just put that in there and co-brand it with Sharper Image for all I care. Like, they don't even have to pay for it. Sharper Image marketing could pay for it, and then you'd have an atomic clock, and the time would never be wrong. Like, it would never be
I wonder
wrong.
if there's a patent out there on this, and that's why they're not implementing it, because somebody's holding the patent.
They hate you. They just hate us, and they don't want to do it. That's why.
The more you have to adjust your time on your microwave, the faster the buttons will wear out, and the faster you'll have to buy a new one.
Yeah, that's if that were true, then why does it still break when it's blinking 12 o'clock? Like, oh man. Well, it's encouraging that the appliance people are catching up with the smart home, I guess, but I don't know, this seems like a big miss. And thanks for reminding me that I did actually leave a bunch of clothes in the washer. I better go get those right when you stop the show.
If your washer announced that over your Sonos and sent you a push notification, then you wouldn't be in this situation, which is how I have things set up today in my home. But in this case, if they have no integration with other systems, then I don't know what the point of it is at that point.
Yeah. All right. Well, I need to get some of those, because evidently I leave clothes in the washer all the time, and they start to smell after a while. So it's not a good thing. So I'm gonna have to remember. Hopefully, when we get off this, I'll remember to get out there and do that. So
we'll send you a message.
Yeah, somebody send me a message. Somebody send me a push notification. All right, let's move on here. Big week in security news. We got a couple of stories here that we're going to try and run through real quick. Smart door locks and video doorbells are great conveniences, but people in apartments and single family homes, and condos and everything, they may have an intercom where they have to buzz people in, right? Well, Ring came out with what's called something called the Ring Intercom, and it's a DIY retrofit device that attaches to the intercom inside your home and connects through Wi-Fi to the Ring app on the smartphone. So when somebody does ring in, it will use the intercom system. And there's some compatibility checks that you have to do, but it'll use the intercom system and allow you to talk through the Ring app to them over the intercom and buzz them in if you're not there or whatever. Like, just let somebody in the door. This is really cool. We were talking about this a little bit before the show, and I was a little bit confused about like how they're doing this. And you go on their website, and there's that compatibility amount. It doesn't work with everything, but what it does work with, if you do have one of the models, and specifically if you are in Europe right now, because it's not an American product, but they say it's coming to the States. If you do have one of the products it's compatible with, I think this is a home run. This is really cool. This is for anyone living in an apartment that needs to ring somebody in, or a condo or something like that. This is a great idea. TJ, you had some feelings on this one as well when we were talking earlier.
This is a genius idea.
Yeah,
honestly. I mean, I see a lot of people asking about how to make their intercom system smarter, right? And a lot of places have this exact style of intercom. It goes to like a basic landline inside the house. And when I say landline, I'm not talking about like some of them is actually connected to the phone system. It's just a standalone phone that is directly connected to the intercom system. So you press a button, and then that unit's phone rings inside. And there's a lot of older places that still have this type of technology, and they're not going to update it, right? Like, there's no point in updating it. It works fine. You're usually renting the place, so there's not really a big incentive to upgrade it. And it's just a big hassle to go through the upgrade process. But if you could just buy this device and plug it into the existing thing and make it work within the Ring ecosystem, I don't see why a lot of people wouldn't do it. And especially when this is the only product I know of that does this. There's all kinds of like smart intercom systems out there and everything, but none that I know of that just tie directly into what you have already. And especially for a relatively affordable price, it looks like this is around 120 British pounds, which is not expensive at all for this kind of utility. So
it's a good price. Yeah. Gavin, what do you think?
I love devices that add smarts to old tech, and this is one of those devices. I think it's smart. I think it's brilliant. I put this up there with Connected.io, because Connected was a device that you took old dumb alarm systems and you then were able to tie them in to integrate them with other systems. And this is doing just that. If I had a need for it, I'd probably be shopping and trying to import one right now.
yeah, no doubt. And again, it's not every product that is ever made out there. It looks like there's some disassembly you have to do of the intercom to plug it in for maybe some wires inside or something like that. So you'll have to check with their compatibility checker online, and there's a couple of questions you can answer about the system and if it's compatible or not. It'll give you a green check or a big red X and at the end of it. So we'll put a link to all that good stuff in the show notes, and you can check it out. If you're in Europe and you get our hands on one of these, we'd love to know your experiences from it. So let's move on here. We got a company called EasyViz. It's pulled back the curtain on a bunch of new smart home products and gadgets, including the first ever robotic vacuum cleaner. The company used the showroom floor at IFA 2022. We were just talking about that in Berlin to show off its new smart home cameras, door locks, home security. But the RS2 robot cleaner is the most noteworthy of the announcements. EasyViz is now offering its smart home devices at the budget end of the scale, and the RS2 could provide a neat, affordable option for those looking for automated cleaning. So Gavin, I think you put this in here. You said you like this company EasyViz and what they're doing. What do you think about this thing?
Well, I didn't really say I like the company. I just said their camera they have a pan tilt camera that had some really good reviews on it, right? At this point though, like these companies are, nothing to get really too excited about. They're releasing things that already exist out there, and they're kind of playing me too. They show off their smart door lock that fits over your existing deadbolt. I mean, where did we hear that before? There's another company that does that too. So it's nice to see them finally catching up in a way, but I'd like to see companies come with something and they're like, this is new stuff, this is groundbreaking, instead of just catching up. But it's always good when there's more competition out there. I've never looked at their ecosystem. I don't know how well it integrates. I don't have any EasyViz products, so I can't really comment on how well they work, but like I said, it's good to see competition.
Yep. Especially it looks like they've got a well-rounded group of products and everything. This doesn't have any. It says it's going to be cheap, but it doesn't have any pricing or availability on this thing. So hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more out of it here in the future. But like you said, it's nice to see other companies coming to market. And I'm sure there's going to be even more now that iRobot's owned by Amazon, right? So. DJ, you have anything to add to this one?
Yeah, I've actually never heard of this company, and I just looked it up, and it looks like the parent company is Hikvision. So,
there we go.
I'm sure we'll see a lot of products come out in the future, just because they make a lot of different security cameras and stuff. But looking at their website, they do have a lot of different models, and they're pretty affordable. So I can see why people would want to pick them.
There's like cameras in everything. There's cameras in the vacuum cleaner. There's cameras in the smart plugs. It's just.
Just like Hikvision.
Just Hikvision, exactly. All right. Well, cool stuff. We'll have to keep an eye on this company as they EasyViz. It's just like it sounds, EasyViz, as they bring more stuff to market. Well, speaking of bringing to market, we've got our news story here from Sonos leaked out. We've got a new leaked picture of the Sub Mini and its design. The Verge has kind of been on top of this rumor and story for it seems like months now, but we finally got a little picture of it, and it looks absolutely adorable.
It's so tiny.
It's so little. I can't tell. Is that the Beam or something that it's sitting next to in that picture?
It looks like it's the Ray.
It's the Ray, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that thing has got to be the size of like maybe a HomePod, I would assume. maybe a little bit taller.
Yeah, I think the pictures are a little deceiving. I mean, just because you're looking at it from top down. But I would assume it's kind of, the move shape, or move size, I guess I should say.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point.
But
maybe a little bit bigger, but yeah, probably about that size.
Definitely a good pairing for, a stereo set of like Play 5s, or if you have like a Beam or Array. Probably not a good pairing if you have a Sonos Arc, though.
Probably not, no. But at least it's better than nothing. Yeah, I like it. We're gonna have to keep an eye, and I've got to go back and dig up our predictions. Our note server crashed, so we don't have our predictions on the monies and what our bets were in. But I'll find them. We've got them in there somewhere. And then once I have those, this thing can come out. But until I recover,
comes down to price.
Well, yeah, it all comes down to me recovering this database. Then I'll call Sonos. I'm like, Sonos, it's time to release the Sub Mini because I found what we bet it was going to cost on. So,
and they'd be like, "You're the source of the leaks. Get ya."
Exactly.
How did you know our pricing?
It's going to be below $749 because that's the big sub, right?
You hope.
So, yeah, $800 for that. I don't know, probably $350 for this.
I think mine was $449. My prediction.
I think Sonos always likes to put their pricing in a range where it's like, I'm overpaying for this, and if I just pay another $100, I can get the big one. They always do that. They put you in a position where it's like, I can get this one, but for only this much more, I can get the big one. And I have a feeling if you guys are paying $749, I have a feeling they'll put it at like the $600 mark.
Gavin's going high. Gavin, he's been high this whole time.
It's not going to be that high though, because they would cannibalize the regular sub sales.
They might, but then do they? I don't know if they want to.
Yeah,
what's it matter? They're going to make like 80 points of profit on this one versus 40. Yeah, I think they would. Who knows what they'll do? It's Sonos.
I don't care about this. I just want my headphones. I already bought a sub. I'm over it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and TJ put a nice little link from Walmart.com in our Slack chat earlier this week, and it was such a steal I had to like buy it because
it was like what $12.80. It was from Worldwide Stereo, selling through Walmart. It was a Sonos Arc subwoofer and 2 ones. I think the regular ones too, not even the SLs, for like $12.80 or something obnoxious. So basically, you got the subwoofer for free.
Yep. And I ordered, and Walmart says it was shipped, but I don't believe. Like if you go look at the shipping tracking and everything, the real shipping and tracking labels, it says it's been canceled. So I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to be receiving a Sonos sub and Arc and 2 surround speakers anytime soon. But hopefully they find my money and bring it back to me too. Hopefully that comes back. But
yeah, I know some of the orders too. They were shipping out and then redirecting back to themselves. So they realized the mistake on a couple of them at least.
Well, I'm okay with it being a mistake. Sometimes you can take advantage of those and get the things in, but nothing gained, nothing lost. So hopefully I'll get my money back. I can actually say nothing lost, but we'll see. Anyway, all the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found in our show notes at HomeTech.fm/403.
You're just skipping over.
I'm definitely skipping over stuff. I gotta get off the phone. So let's see. Moving on, we got a pick of the week here. We were talking before this show about some old computer stuff, and TJ just went back in like a time machine and dug up crazy home controller called the Echo 4.
Well, it's funny, a lot of people think that home automation is a new thing. And I guess in the grand scheme of, humanity, home automation definitely is a new thing. But home automation's really been out for 40, 50 years now, kind of what we think about it. And I found a story from 50 years ago about this thermostat controlling, recipe showing, smart home automation setup. And it's great.
This is a Doug Engelbart too. Like this is right. No, this is this is demoing. I'm trying to see if this was actually, he was part of this, but this is crazy. This home thing that they've come up with here.
And suspiciously called the Echo 4 Amazon. I wonder where you got that from.
What I like about this, not only is the pick of the giant 7-foot racks that are in here, because there's multiple ones, but like there's actually a diagram of it, and there's like a power supply memory rack, a CPU rack, an input output rack. Like, it's beautiful. 6 foot high, 7 foot wide, 1.5 foot deep. There's probably enough room back over there. I could put something like that.
You could have a whole house automation system.
You know
with
what's
just the
funny
size
is
of your garage.
our cell phone could do everything this computer setup does now.
Yeah, a fraction of the power cost and everything. So
yeah,
it's really cool. Really cool. Good find, TJ. This is like, wow, this is crazy. Just to see all those wires in that rack and everything, all the pictures that are here. Pretty cool setup. We'll put a link to this in the show notes. And I don't know, was this actually used by somebody? I'm trying to.
No, it was never put into production. I think it was used in somebody's house, but they never actually commercially sold it.
They had to upgrade the power grid to support it. That's why.
There's
yeah,
like
I'm sure there's all kinds of complications that went into like selling this. Like, people probably thought you were a witch if you told them your house was automated. Like, and who wants to dedicate a whole room so you can adjust the thermostat from your kitchen or something, right? Like, we're not even talking about cell phone capability at this point, or computer capability. You're talking about like manual inputs and relays to stuff still. So like,
Yeah.
you still had to interact with it in order for it to do something. So, how many people actually wanted that?
There's this picture of this guy like with this giant racks all plugging these wires in and everything. I'd like to think like he's like the original integrator, and he just like lives in that little room right there. He's got a cot over to the right hand side. You can't see, it's just out of camera. And he's like, something happens, he's there.
He's like, the hired help. He detects when you press a button and moves the wire around to get something to happen.
But because it's the 50s, he has to wear the tie and the little pocket protector. Yeah, it's really cool. So we'll put a link to all this in the show notes, HomeTech.fm/403, and go over and check that out. It's pretty cool. But if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, Gavin, you've been updating some stuff, man. You're in with the yo links.
Yeah, so I jumped on the bandwagon. And I monitor my pool temperature. That's been working really well. So I just took it one step further. I ordered another temperature monitor, and I put it in my basement freezer to monitor my freezer for any sort of failure or anything. And you know what? Like, it sounds excessive, but this actually happened to my neighbor. Their freezer died. They didn't realize everything was thawed, and they lost a bunch of food. So I was like, you know what? This is a perfect use case. Again, YoLink runs on LoRa technology, so the signal goes through the metal box easily. It has no problems communicating, and so far it's been working well.
Very nice, very nice. I walked in. We have like this little, I usually call a mud room. Traditionally, it's a laundry room, like right on the backside of our garage. We have this extra fridge in. And my wife was like, "Hey, go fill up go put these water bottles in the fridge." And I went and did that. And then I came back in 10 minutes later, and the door's still open. I'm like, "Oh, I could really use one of those things. Put a contact on this door," because I always forget it doesn't close automatically. For whatever reason, the door is too heavy, full of water, so it just kind of hangs open. And I walked in, and it's bright and shiny in the room. Why is it so bright in this room? Oh, the door is open. That would not be good.
This would be a perfect solution for that.
Yep.
It would save you in the long run if from doing something like that.
Yep. And you got a note here about us having some black rack studs. What's going on with that?
Oh yeah, TJ kept bugging me and
finally
bugging me. After I built the rack, I had all silver screws, and he would not let it go. So on my next Amazon bulk order, I slipped in some black screws in there for my rack. I replaced them, so now I don't have to hear it anymore.
I can finally sleep at night.
You can rest. Yeah, you've done your duty, TJ.
So aggravating.
I notice it more now since you pointed it out. It was bugging me too. After you pointed it out, the silver screws bugged me. So I just want to thank you for that. And now I can sleep better too.
You just gotta not let things get to you, Gavin. If you could see the state of my rack right now, you wouldn't even listen to my opinion anymore. But the problem is I don't share my rack because I know it looks awful.
One day we'll get a little glimpse of it, and I'm going to point out something that's going to bug you. Don't worry.
Oh, don't worry. It's already haphazardly put together. There's wires going everywhere. I don't even know what's going on in it. Can't even put my Unraid server in there. The case is too big, so it's like on the bottom shelf somewhere.
It's under all the wire.
Under all the printer filament.
That's too funny. I'm close to being done with this one, and then I'll have to move into messing with the next one. And by then I'll probably have a third rack somewhere, just because I'm out of space now. Like, turns out I didn't really plan this properly and ran out of space pretty quickly. So
see, I went big right off the start, so I wouldn't run out of space. You see, I learned from your mistakes.
You're almost out of space already, though, Gavin.
Oh no! I have a couple blank plates in there, and I can adjust some things. I purposely left one U open for Unify Dream Machine. Like the Pro.
When I ship you that Unify Dream Machine Pro.
I'll let you know when I need it.
Because you have the one just sitting on top of the rack, and that's just not appropriate.
I know someone else pointed that out to me, and now that's bugging me. So yeah, the Pro is probably coming soon.
Nice.
I'll bug you.
Very nice, very nice. Well, my big project for the weekend here, and it's the last day of the weekend, so it's probably not going to get finished, is finishing off this Wish.com theater screen. I spent yesterday ironing it, so I've done that part, and it got most of the wrinkles out, but it still needs to be stretched on a frame. It's not going to work. And I put a bunch of new rivets in it. So actually, I got them sitting right here. Got a bunch of rivets, and a little rivet crimper thing.
There you go.
And so I put a bunch of new rivets in it, and I now just got to figure out how to strap it to a PVC frame that I made up out of PVC 3/4 inch PVC pipe. And I should be good to go. I feel like I'm making a home theater now. Like, I'm going to move on from my $6 and what is it called? Foam board from the dollar store that I have taped together with duct tape. And I should have a real theater screen at least in the next couple of days.
I have to ask, what do you plan on using this for? Since it'll be in your garage, like, you're just going to have like a giant clock on there, like. Oh no! What's your purpose?
Like, if we were working out here, it's just the TV for the room, so we just turn it on. Yeah, that's all.
All right.
It's if my daughter has to come out here, we'll set her in a little, like, one of those little lawn chairs in front of it, and she'll watch a movie on it or something like that. So, yeah.
Did you use white PVC or black PVC?
It's it's going to be behind the screen. Though the problem is I started thinking about it. It's like I have to find some rope to go through the rivets to, like. I don't have any, like, string or anything. The only thing I have is, like, bright pink string that I would use to, like, it's like yarn or something you would use in your yard.
Zip tie.
Yeah, I don't think the zip tie would work. Maybe it would. I don't know. I've got to figure out something to, like, it's going to strap on the back. I'm just going to wrap it around this frame and then hang the frame up. So I'll figure it out. We'll see what it ends up looking like, but it should be okay. It should be okay.
For its use case, it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. For what I've got to use here, it should be fine. So
the daughter is not picky.
No one. I mean, she's been watching TV on four poster boards or 6 poster boards, or duct tape together. Like, it's and it's just clamped onto the door with, like, little clamps, like little pressure clamps. like it could fall down at any time, and then she has something to draw on. She's gonna love it. So anyway, pretty much wraps up this week. I want to give a big thank you. We want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about our Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show, but every pledge gets you a invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you can get in there and talk every day about all sorts of fun stuff. What was Robert trying to do? Steal an iPad from a hotel?
He has like an iPort with a wrapped around an iPad or something. He's trying to get the case off it. It sounds pretty sketchy to me.
Is that what we were helping him do? We were helping him steal something. Like, I didn't realize, like, sometimes I help this guy. I don't know what he's doing.
He said hotel edition, so I mean, you should have known right there.
Yeah, suspicious, very sus. Yeah, exactly. So, if you don't want to get arrested, but totally would like to help out the show, but not financially, so you don't get drug into this, subpoenas that we're all going to be issued from the Hub. Totally understand. Just, we'd appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. that wraps up another week of Home Tech news. From here, everybody have a great weekend.
Take care.
Till next time.
What did I normally say? That wraps another week in Home Tech. Yeah, that wraps up another week in Home Tech from everyone here.
You have it written down on the screen. Just read it.
No, it doesn't say that anymore. It says something different.
That'll be your prompt when you get it all set up.
Yeah, one of these days.
Boy. If we had the note server up.
At least it's not on fire anymore. Well, one of them's not on fire. Let's see if is it running. Yes, it's working still. Yay, Unraid. I think I'm back to normal. Maybe
Until tomorrow.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Just don't look at it.
Are you kidding? I have like the syslog streaming over here now. It's like a permanent part of the screen. Like
you just need to tie it into some RGBs. That way it just turns red when everything's down. You're like, oh man, here we go again.
That's what I would have liked to have worked on. I do have
shit.
that. So it's already on, but yeah. It's purple right now. Anyway, thanks guys. This was fun. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I don't know if anybody did tune in, but it looked like maybe somebody popped in and then popped out.
Yeah,
everybody's laboring
on their Labor Day. Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, in the broadcast. So there we go. All right.